one of them down. That's a full team kill.
God, what is that?
Another.
He's looking for third. He's gonna get it.
Not the kill, and Vastek's gonna find another one. He finds that shot. He finds two.
He's still alive. Can he go in?
Oh my goodness.
He's gonna go bar down and give Saints the lead again.
Nation, and welcome back here. My name's Jackson Brown, joined alongside Dan, Mr. Danner's Banner here. Today we got St. Clair Saints Overwatch here kicking off in the NACE with week number 1 here. Going to be going off against the Ryerson Rams here of Toronto. So two Ontario teams battling it out here. How do you feel about this game coming up here, Dan?
Definitely a good way to start things off. It's been a little bit since we had got to these two teams faced off against each other. But that being said, with NACE in general right now, it just seems like we've been placed in a group full of Canadian teams, which is cool, but at the same time, it's like, okay, we've played years in other leagues, but it is what it is. We get to play Ryerson right off the bat here, which is definitely pretty awesome in that regard, but our roster did change a little bit compared to when we played them last, because the last time these two teams played, I believe the Saints won it in like a 3-1 fashion, but things definitely changed a little bit. I'm not sure exactly how it changed on the Ryerson front, but in theory, this should be relatively even on paper, in my opinion.
Yeah, from the Saints side of things, I think the last time we did actually go up against them, we did have 9 in the lineup here, but now that will be swapped out for Ubel. Ubel, he's shown promise here throughout the Saints roster, and game in and game out. So now, Ryerson University here versus the St. Clair College. It is going to be NACC matching up here, and I mean, these two teams, both teams that we got to be looking out for. St. Clair, they were talking about, I was talking to them here before this game actually did get underway, and they are very, very confident that they can come through here with a win in this one. So we'll see how they can do. We'll find out in just a moment, but the preparing time to attack is getting ready, and we're going to be getting started here right now.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard start here. Saints were able to pick Lijiang Tower for their very first matchup here, which has been something we saw a lot last season as well. We're going to see a pretty standard lineup here for the most part. Actually, maybe not necessarily. We still have G-Scales and Cheesy, but they've kind of swapped roles a little bit. G-Scales actually on the DPS here on the Cassidy.
Yeah, I was talking to G-Scales a lot here before the game as well, and, you know, he is definitely one of those players that, you know, is one of those guys that can very much be flexible, and so he is going to be switching over to that DPS role, and we'll see how it does work out for the Saints here now. But as of right now, Ryerson will be the first ones there onto the point, and they will get this clock ticking here, already nearing the 10% marker, as we wait for the Saints to regroup and try to make their second attempt push on in.
And, of course, our opponents here tonight, of course, being Ryerson University. We've got Cheddar and Junkrat. That's going to be interesting, to say the least. But on the tank line, we got Pleb W and Zima on DPS. KVN and Fraud Chicken going to be on the support line here. And so far, they've been able to do a fantastic job. Fraud Chicken with a nice little boop there. Push G-Scales right off before this fight even really gets the opportunity to get underway. Shots from afar and close range, just diving right on in. Junkrat here on the Diva pushing forward alongside Zima, sending Saints basically right back into their spawn and going to be needing a pause for maybe just a split a second here. But Saints are scrambling off the start here. We do see some very quick swaps, to say the least here. G-Scales was on the Cassidy initially, but now we do see the Pharmacy combo coming out instead. And like Pharmacy or Farah in general very well could like change this around a little bit. It's really good when trying to control the bridges, but that requires you to actually get a control point in the first place. So it's a little interesting.
Yeah, so we were just going to have a couple-minute break here. We do have Arjunk's mouse not working currently here right now, so he's going to try to get that fixed up on the side of St. Clair before we do actually hop back into this one, so it should be a pretty minor problem, but I know we did forget his mouse cord at home, so he's using a different micro USB on that, so that's probably the issue. So hopefully that gets fixed up here in the next couple minutes or so, but until then, yeah, I mean, St. Clair going to be tough to lose that first point there because, I mean, we're at 38% now to 0%. So Ryerson has a good lead already on this game, and that could definitely hurt St. Clair in the long run.
Yeah, you could kind of tell, too, that the first week back jitters are kind of getting back to everybody, trying to get back into routine, forgetting some equipment or, like, forgetting the process and whatnot. But it is, it's okay. We'll get that all fixed up in the meantime. but it shouldn't take too much longer there, especially if he's trying to play Ana. That's going to be kind of critical. So
Yeah.
definitely needs to fix that up. And sure enough, it looks like, okay, about a minute through, gets this all switched up. So nice quick fix there. But Saints, rough start, to say the least, here for this first round.
Rough start to say the least, but now is the time to bounce back. So we are going to be getting right back into the game here right now. So this pause is going to be lifted in the next 3 seconds or so, and we are going to be getting started here once again. The St. Clair College versus Ryerson University going to carry on through. Ryerson with an early advantage on to this game number 1 of our best of 5 series. So still lots of game ahead of us here, as we do see G-Skills up here on the DPS roll, just trying to send in some shots on those enemies from above. Going to do some good damage on them there, and now waiting for some support from his team, but he is actually going to get pinched out of position. Could make things a little bit more concerning. Bailable on the Tracer, running and gunning, trying to get as many damage as he can as well. So far, it's not going terrible, but the Saints are going to have to make a play here soon.
And they've just been trapped to the outside. Now they're trapped inside this building here, at least the tank line is. And right now, that's going to be the Coalescence coming out here for KVN on the side of Ryerson, just doing so much healing until that purple came out there from Arjunk, so it was pretty solid. But that is going to be the nano boost used on the side of St. Clair. Where did that one go? I cannot quite seem to find it at this moment, but as of right now, Pleb W and the rest of the side of Ryerson just plowing through the Saints once again, and it's basically one more team fight, or they've got this round nice and quick.
Yeah, I mean, at that point in time, Saints only have about 3 team fights of an actual option to go and try to fight this one through, and doesn't look like it's going out too well. It looks like it's going to be forcing them onto the overtime. Now, can the Saints play the overtime? Here we go. Overtime pops, and now it's got to be a contest. So you see 2 players on it for the Saints here right now. Now it's a 5-on-2, 6-on-2 on the site. So much work for Apostle and Co. Apostle going to get hacked out of it. He's still on the point. Arjun will take down Pleb. This is a half-decent start for the Saints, but with that being Apostle and Jeezy falling all up to Bailable. Bailable will fall shortly after, and as he finds one more, and I mean at this point in time it is just mayhem on the point. Ryerson still up 3-1 here though.
Yeah, this one is not quite going to cut it. A valiant effort there. Nice little final attempt there from Bailable. Was able to get an elimination or 2, but that will end up being the rounds. Of course, these control maps, it's basically a best of 3 inside of itself, so it's not necessarily the game over to the side of Ryerson as of yet. Get to play in a little bit more of a close contained area this time by, though. Going to be playing around this center pillar, and this version of Lijiang basically just promotes spam AoE. So right away, you see Pleb W, Bailable, switching it right on over to the Junkrat. They know what's going on. Just going to be firing grenades over and over and over again through these narrow corridors. And hopefully this will suit Saints style just a little bit more to get the home team back on the positive swing of things. Otherwise, Ryerson going to take game 1.
Yeah, I mean, this is really where the mayhem starts to come into effect. You know, you think Overwatch might be mayhem when the last point. I mean, this is going to be even more of it. So you can see the fight right from the hop here. It is going to be the Saints in the yellow and Ryerson in the blue. That being said, it's going to be St. Clair trying to attack from this upper stairs side of area. Apostle, though, and Co. going to actually make their way onto this control point area here now. Control point will be unlocking in the next 5 seconds or so. So these first initial fights are definitely big ones to win, but not the start you're looking for. Apostle and G-Scales will both fall early on here already. Arjun tagged down, Cheesy tagged down, and I mean, these players are going to be find very difficult to maintain their lives. Everything going in favor of Ryerson, and Ryerson will look to take the first points here on round number 2.
And one of the small things that kind of gets overlooked a lot of times is you never expect the amount of damage that the Reinhardt Flame Strike actually does. But in these narrow hallways, it is so easy to get smoked by it. As we see the Riptire coming on through. If this could find a flank, this could be huge. Can he find anybody? No, not quite. That is going to be blocked out here by KVN's safety net, basically, and going to send everybody back. They did get the one elimination on the Cheddar, answered back, but it is going to give Saints the position, at least for now.
Yes, indeed it does here now. So the Saints will start ticking on this percentage here for the first time here in this series, actually, as it is going to be the side of St. Clair just racking it all up here. And, I mean, at this point in time, we're just going to be waiting for the side of Ryerson to regroup, come in, and attack as a team. And it's definitely going to be a scary sight for the Saints here, as they do see a full flood of blue headed their way. As it is Ryerson coming through and hot, but that's Cheesy and Arjun doing some good work early on. St. Clair will actually maintain to gain themselves a lead here now, 35-20.
And there's a Riptire coming on through, though. Pleb's going to at least find Bailable in this situation, but the one elimination is not going to be able to swing this one right back round. So Saints are going to be able to hold for at least a little bit longer. And Apostle finding one extra one there. Cheesy finding one as well. Showing the tank line is not just meant to soak damage, but deal some as well. Can they deal with this Reaper? Yeah, I got to force the Wraith Walk. Get them out of dodge for at least a moment. They are building ultimates, though. Ryerson, 4 are going to be on the board by the time this next fight happens. And like Shatter, Death Blossom or something, that could be brutal.
Cheesy is doing a phenomenal job of just keeping these players on the back line. It's actually going to alter Ryerson's whole direction and plan of attack here to a whole different entrance here because Cheesy was just blocking them off so much. And now it is going to be a battle onto the site, but Bailable opens it up. G-Scale's going to fall shortly after. Cheesy going to find another kill. Cheesy's been having a great game here so far, keeping St. Clair alive. And this one, St. Clair now going to be advancing 85-20. Kills are going in their favor. It is going to be Ryerson here still trying to keep this attack moving forwards. But Apostle will take the D.Va out of their mech, and that is now going to make things super, super difficult on that D.Va there. And now that's the cleanup from Arjun and St. Clair. I mean, they're in good position to try to close this one out.
Yeah, the time ticking down, that was best case scenario there for the side of St. Clair, and they're going to be able to secure this one. Cheddar had that Shatter ready to use, however, he got melted so fast that it was the combo tool that was missing in that fight. You may have had 4 ultimates, but the other 3 got next to no value because there was no stun. So Saints are going to be able to pull that one off, and this one is going to now get into another very interesting version of Lijiang, the final section here. We'll take a look at the point in just a second here over towards the pagoda because big old square open space here. But if you get stuck on the outside, for those that don't know, you can absolutely just shove somebody right off the side here. So Farah, Lucio, even Winston's in this case, could absolutely find some massive value as we hop on into this next round.
Yeah, we are definitely hyped to see this one come through. The Saints were managing to tie this one up now at 1-1, and it is going to be an absolute brawl here on the control point. St. Clair and Ryerson getting into it, but St. Clair will find your early picks. That is 3 down for the side of Ryerson already. Make it a 4th, make it a 5th. No, the D.Va gonna keep her life. But no, that is going to be St. Clair with very early dominance here on this point. They are looking solid to find this one.
And poor Junkrat going to end up getting staggered out a little bit, going to be stuck in that Baby D.Va form for just a little bit longer. So the proper 6v6 is not going to happen anytime soon for them. Zane's going to be able to build up some percent. Only a little bit, though, at this time here. Bailable setting up that teleporter as well. Nice quick little retreat onto the point if necessary. Always going to be useful. So we get to see where's the plan of attack coming here. We actually have a backdoor attempt here coming out from, I think it's Broad Chicken over on the point. Nope, actually trying to boost everybody on in. There's the boop. Does it actually take care of Cheesy? It does. So that is actually perfect. This is exactly what I was talking about. You don't have to kill off their health bar, just knock them off the side.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, as much as they did get that one pick on a Cheesy, St. Clair immediately answered back, taking down several players from the Ryerson roster. And this is what it's allowing St. Clair now to gain a 35% advantage here on their opponents, sitting a little bit comfortably. I wouldn't say they're like totally comfortable, but they are sitting kind of nicely here now because St. Clair is just maintaining to build this lead. Ryerson not in a position where they can really regroup as well. The D.Va just spawned back in, so Ryerson's full team attack still is about another 10%-ish away. You see all 5 of them coming through here, or sorry, all 6 of them coming through here now in just a moment. St. Clair trying to play off the defense. Do we have any ults? All the ults for St. Clair are about to come through. Bailable pops his, Archer pops his, Apostle pops his, all the ults. Oh my goodness, this is mayhem.
Apostle just found himself at least 4 players with that Shatter, completely shutting that attack down. Granted, Bailable did go down, so this one is not completely lost here for this side of Ryerson. They are going to try their best, but with Cheesy taking care of KVN and G-Scale's getting in there with the Doomfist of all characters. Don't see him too often, but he's coming into play here and really making some value here for St. Clair. 80% on the board, and it looks like Saints might be able to turn this one around if they could hang on for like 10 more seconds.
Yeah, it looked very dominant for the side of Ryerson to start us off here in that first round, but since then it's been all yellow Saints as they are now leading 90% to 0. One final push is all we're going to see from Ryerson here in this one, and this is it right here, right now. However, we got G-Scales and Bailable coming through for the team play as they drop the first one, drop the second. Overtime not going to be a thing as the St. Clair Saints will win and find game number 1 of this best of 5 series here as they do take down Ryerson University and the control.
All right, so that worked out absolutely fantastic in the end there. The second portion, the third portion of Lijiang went completely in Saints' favor. Granted, that first one one, Ryerson looked so good, but just the combos just kept getting shut down. They did have a few moments of brilliance, just like this play of the game here from Cheddar. And this is the first section here, of course, just absolutely made in like optimal value of that Winston pick. But the rest of that map, just unfortunately there for the side of Ryerson, they had the plan, it just couldn't get executed.
Yeah, I mean, it looked very, like the plan was there. You can definitely see the gears turning in Ryerson's head during those plays. Like, they're trying to group up, make the team efforts. I do think that the effort was really there for Ryerson. I like the play calls there from them. Just not going to work out. Not able to get those right attacks off in the right times. Not able to get the cleanup like they should. And, the Saints, they did have those tricks up their sleeve, and they were able to shut them down despite falling down 1-0 early on in the game. So, I mean, bouncing back is going to be the Saints now leading them 1-0 in the series as we do head into game number 2 here in just a few moments.
Yeah, and of course for map selection for NACE, basically anything that's competitive legal is open, like based off of like game modes. So there's not like a specific version of Escort or a specific version of Hybrid that you have to play every single week. No, everything that is legal is on the table. So there is very well the chance of like map counter picks, which in the past it's just been, okay, everybody just picks Kings Row, let's be honest here. But it does leave the door open for some pretty interesting map picks. We will see soon enough what it does end up being here. But honestly, good on the Saints. Anytime I see somebody get like around like that, that's rough. Usually the second one is just a wash. There's like mentality is basically broken and you can't really find your way back. But I am very, very happy to be wrong in that case and that the Saints are able to pull that one back.
Yeah, 100%. So we are going to be hopping into this next one here in just a few minutes. And I mean, so you were saying about the, the Kings Row and whatnot. I still do think we are going to see a lot of Kings Row here. I don't think that's going to change a whole lot because the Saints are so developed on it. I mean, a majority of teams are, but the Saints, they definitely do have that in the back of their minds that, hey, we already know how to do this. We already know how to play this map. And we can just play it safe and keep playing our Kings Row. So I definitely do think that's definitely something we will be seeing here in this one. I mean, it's not called Saints Row for nothing here.
Right,
Dan.
exactly.
So, yeah, we definitely will keep that one in mind here, though. As I mean, if Ryerson falls down 0-2, though, I think that this could definitely be a problem for them.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, at least for Kings Row, I miss the days of a 5 tank plus a Lucio. But things have changed.
Don't we all miss those days?
Those were hilarious days, to say the least. Was it fun for the opponents? Absolutely not. But it was definitely funny while it lasted. But for this one, you're exactly right, though. You don't want things to like snowball out of control. Like, yes, Kings Row or Saints Row, as we call it here, is like popular amongst basically everybody, or popular amongst the whole community. But again, yes, like Saints are extremely well rehearsed in it. So even though you might like the map, do you pick it anyway, or do you try to avoid it? Like, it's a interesting thought.
Yeah, I mean, you can think of it on both sides of the table here, honestly, at this point, right? It's like a double-edged sword almost. But with that being said, I mean, the Saints, would they have that advantage? Now, the thing is they got to play off their confidence. They have to play off that momentum if they do want to find something here in game number 2 and just carry on with their success. We've definitely seen them, get a little bit sometimes overconfident after winning one, or sometimes lose some morale after losing one. So with them coming through and winning this one, I hope the confidence doesn't really go to the head too much, and I hope they are still able to come through. But we are not going to be seeing Kings Row here right now, Stan.
All right, so we got Eichenwald this time by, which we honestly, last season, we maybe saw twice, which is actually really, really interesting to say the least here. So this would have been a pick from Ryerson themselves. So maybe they are onto something. Maybe they had this planned out, ready to go, or maybe they just like the map. We'll have to see. Nonetheless, what are we going to see in terms of team compositions? This does allow you to have a little bit more sky play if you really want to. We do see Bailable and Ubel going for Pharmacy as per usual. But we also do have the opportunity for some sniper play as well. We do see G-Scales here on the Hanzo, going to maybe try to make something happen, while everybody else here kind of bunkers up here behind Apostle, who's on the Arisa this time by just going to try and claim this piece of land and just not move, basically.
Yeah, if G-Skills can connect on some heads, he can definitely find a good bit of damage there for the side of the Saints, but it is going to be the Saints defending the first time around as Ryerson is looking to move on to the attack, and here we go. We are going to get this one started here now, and it's going to be Bailable. Wow, that is an early pick to take down Fraud Chicken from the side of Ryerson.
You don't usually see that happen, but yes, of course, by having the player that play through the skies, by having Bailable there on the Farah, this does allow for some early cheap shots, and having it boosted there, the damage boosted being there from Ubel, just adds on so much extra damage. We're seeing like Baleble's chunking
Yeah.
Junkrat on the Diva there, and that's supposed to be a tank, so this is just absolutely brutal. He's got a barrage already.
goodness.
He can absolutely clean things up here, and it's going to force everybody to run away.
Yeah, so Baleble's so big there because, right, this is splash damage, and he had 3 players grouped up, so he's doing triple the damage per shot almost on those shots. I mean, Balable just making a huge impact in the start of this one for St. Clair. This will immediately put St. Clair as a favor here in this map, as we do see them take down a few more players now in Ryerson. They gotta wait for, you know, Zima to even come back to regroup and actually try to get another full 6-man push. St. Clair and Balable and company doing a great job here, starting us off in game number 2.
Jeekskills has been finding some 6 shots for himself as well, considering he nearly has his Dragon Strike already available. Gonna have it by the time this next fight actually happens through, but it's already a player down. Balable once again finding the pick. Pleb W was sick on the Sombra in the last game on Lijiang, but right now having a hard time making any value for himself.
Doing so much damage, still is Balable, finding 2
Oh.
more, knocks 2 people off of the map. That is going to be Balable doing absolutely phenomenal work. He is not slowing down at all, and he is definitely going to be a player to watch. At this point in time, he's just shooting into the enemy spawn. The bullets aren't even connecting. Balable just firing away shots upon shots, and the Saints now going to go for the first about minute and a half, nearly 2 minutes. Look at this, as soon as they come out, Balable is just ready to go, firing away his shots, and now, I mean, the St. Clair has been holding Ryerson back here drastically. No touch on the control point yet.
And here we go. We do have the Nano Boost coming down onto Balable. Has the barrage available. Combo it up. Why don't you?
Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness, Balable! The feed! I see his names 8 times. Balable just going off here. Yubel gonna take down Apostle there as a little bit of a team kill, but it's a-okay. The Saints are gonna be fine. Balable is here to save the day. He is just still doing damage upon damage upon damage. You can just see him there on the camera. They're just absolutely locked in for this game.
I know usually when we see 2 blue names on the side, we think of a team kill, but no, that was actually Yubel bringing Pulsar right back into it, the revive. So there's still a 6v6, even though it should have been a massive defender's disadvantage here. Everybody is still already here thanks to the revive, and now, once again, we're just going to keep riding along with Balable because he's got the bird's eye view. How appropriate here on this fight, just constantly lighting everybody up.
Yeah, I mean, why would we change?
15 kill player streak.
That is unreal. You know, we see those in Call of Duty sometimes and whatnot, and you think it's such an accomplishment, and it really is. But when you come down and you see Overwatch, you see him just casually Balable, just firing away, and gonna manage to rack up a 15-player kill streak. I mean, the Saints are doing work here right now, and Balable doing work for sure as well. And yeah, like you were saying about that revive, it just keeps the Saints play all alive and well, as it's gonna now be the side of Ryerson. Actually do get some points on this control point, and Balable, though, still alive. I mean, if Balable does fall, I think the Stone does get a little bit more skeptical, and I mean, at this point in time here now, Ryerson, this is the one where they do actually pop it, but only 20 seconds left on the clock, Dan. That's the big thing.
Yeah, so that time just got absolutely milked, to say the least there. Yes, they've gotten the first point, so good on the side of Ryerson, able to get this cart back up and moving. But yeah, compared to some games where I'll see teams have 5 minutes after the first point, like having not even, or just over half of that left is really brutal, because especially when you start trying to get towards this bridge area, it is going to be extremely difficult. In fact, we see them trying to get through basically the castle portion by itself. A little bit hard to take a peek at, but we do see 2 members on the side of Ryerson going down. Granted, not going to be unanswered. Our junk does end up falling here, but kind of stuck once again, just kind of going back, and yep, caught Zima. Unfortunately, a little bit out of position, and now going to have to go right back to the drawing board.
You know what? Overwatch might not be one of my main titles here, but I could watch Balable do this all day long for sure, because he is just firing away, damage upon damage being done from him. This payload going to get a little bit stuck here through the corridor. I mean, we've talked about this a lot last semester. Whenever you have to get that payload through a really tight and narrow space, it really makes it a lot more difficult on the attacking team to actually be able to squeeze it through and get it onto that next side. So it's good that they are getting a little bit of an advancement here now, but I mean, just as we do say that, Arjun and Apostle are up here ready for this fight up in the push into Castle. So much damage getting done here now, but Cheddar will be doing something to Apostle to take him down. Cheddar will clean up Arjun, and this is getting a little bit more skeptical here for the Saints.
And it just shows the power of this, the Nano Boost coming out there from Arjunk's. Like, you throw it onto Apostle, he was basically there 1v4 for most of that fight, and yet he still survived so long. And Zima's trying to find some sort of answer here for Balable's Pharah, and just not quite finding it. He's been able to just constantly juke around them with the assistance of Yubel being able to top him off on health, top him up with extra damage, and just honestly good on the supports end as well. 1 minute left in play to try and get to this final checkpoint.
Yeah, Yubel's doing a great job of keeping Balebo alive here as well. Yubel doing a very good job of just being that healer there and supporting the rest of his team in these whole fights, and we do see it over and over. Apostle going to take down Cheddar there, and that's going to be a big pick for the Saints to really try to open up this side of Ryerson. Ryerson only has 35 seconds. They do still have a little bit to push this payload, but with it being moved closer and closer to these doors, I mean, it is just inches away here almost at this point in time, but the Saints do have full control over this current situation and are currently looking to be in the driver's seat ever so slightly here in this one, especially as time does tick down to, like, you know, this 20-second marker. Makes it even more and more difficult. Arjun and G-Skills each finding picks. That is going to be the Junkrat. D-Mecton now sent off as well from G-Skills. This is going to open things up drastically for the Saints. There's only 10 seconds are on the clock. I mean, hey, this is very winnable to shut this one down and end it right here, right now.
Yep, shut it down or send it. And we do see Pleb W, of course, is invisible at this time, so can sneak in, but has to go, expose and find that EMP. Does find two, but as soon as Pleb W exposes himself, he gets instantly popped. Bailable with yet another triple. These barrages have been finding so much value, as if it's like Season 1 Overwatch when nobody knew what to deal with Afara. Beautifully done here from the Saints. Beautifully done there from Bailable as well.
Wow.
And that is going to shut it down right on the bridge line. So 1 point and a little bit of distance, or a decent amount of distance to be fair. This is still extremely winnable for Ryerson.
Yeah, it's extremely winnable for Ryerson. I want everyone to keep that in mind, all you viewers back home, that this is still very winnable, despite not being able to push that payload to the full extent they could have. Ryerson's still doing a very strong job, but I think the Saints, if they can pop that point earlier than Ryerson, the Saints clean it up.
Absolutely.
That's the big thing here. The Saints, the highlight of that round is how long the Saints were able to defend that initial control point to just milk out the Ryerson clock, just as you were saying. So it is going to work out perfectly there for the Saints. And that one now hopping into Saints on the attack. Let's see how they can do. They got to move that one. Just honestly, you can pretty much get it to the double doors here right now on your screen, or you can see it on your screen right down there in the bottom. If you can get just to that point, you will come through with the map win. So the Saints are looking to do that. So right here, right now.
And to be fair, that is a very common spot to kind of get stuck on this map. That bridge is not a very comfy area to try and attack into. So a lot of it has to do with exactly what you were talking about earlier. If you can get this first checkpoint down pretty quickly, it lets you have so many tries at the bridge that you could just brute force it. And eventually it's going to crack. But if you leave yourself with only a couple minutes, you're not giving yourself that much time to really make something happen. And if you don't get the perfect attack off, then you're kind of messed.
Question for you, Dan, here. Do you think that it's a little surprising to see Ryerson not play the Pharah there and not kind of try to mimic something similar to what Bailable was doing?
I mean, stylistically, like, it's interesting. They're kind of going towards a more double sniper build instead, bringing the Ash out this time by. But it depends. This kind of relies a lot on your confidence. If you could land your shots and you're expecting the Pharah, this could be deadly. But it is all down to how much can Bailable just juke and use these buildings as cover.
Yeah, 100%. So we will see this one come through here now. G-Scale's going to firing away a lot of shots here, and he will actually do some good amount of damage to all these players on the control point. The Saints have pushed farther in than the Ryerson was at this point in time. So this is what's good for St. Clair at this point in time, is that they are so far into the point already. But Cheddar taking down Yubel, that is someone you do not want to lose early on in these gunfights. Bailable still doing really good work on the Pharah, and we do have G-Scales coming in from the side, getting a good pinch there onto the Junkrat, and trying to tag him down drastically. Cheesy and Arjun each finding picks, and I mean, this might open up the control point ever so slightly. We do see a little bit of a flank coming away around from G-Scales as well. The Pharah still doing damage and pushing these players back. The control point has been hopped on 3 players there, and the payload should be getting popped here fairly soon. I mean, this is done. Like, they got the control point. Payload should be released here any second.
And I mean, I liked what the side of Ryerson were opting to, as they do end up getting this first checkpoint, or Saints rather just do get this one. But if you can't deal with the Pharah, deal with the Mercy. Get Yubel off the table. That way you can't just perma-heal the Pharah. But they did that. But then Bailable, smartly, just kind of went from hiding, only taking safe shots, not opting for anything aggressive. And if anything, it was G-Scales on the massive flank on the Soldier 76 to just constantly pepper down the tanks. Junkrat was not long for that world. That's a beefy body, a beefy shield, no longer in play. And it just let the Saints take this so quickly, as we could see on the time clock, almost 5 minutes to make it to the bridge. Very possible.
Yeah, Junkrat was just getting so focused out there at that point in time that, I mean, he was just, the tank just completely fell. You know, that beefy character that had all the HP, like you said, just fell. But that is a good start for Ryerson. Zima going to find a few. G-Scale's going to find one on the Soldier 76, taking down that tank player from the side of Ryerson. So this could open up for a little bit more. G-Scale's going to find yet another, taking down Zima. So this does open up things even more. Apostle finding one as well. That is a few players down here now. And Ryerson is going to be forced to regroup here and try to take this one on a second time. The Saints have already almost gotten this payload to the distance needed to clean up this game win. So, I mean, this could be very big. The Saints are very close to advancing this one to 2-0. Ryerson is not even that close. Like, is this even possible?
I mean, all eyes on G-Scales and Yubel here. They have the combo here. That is the tactical visor coming off. Let's see if he can just open fire on everybody. He's got aim hacks, but that's his ultimate, not a cheat. And he's just absolutely lighting him up as well. Beelable going to get himself on the board. Cheesy getting on the board as well. And everybody is just melting. It's all up to Bob on the side of Ryerson to try and defend, but he cannot stay there forever. And that is going to be the game going over to St. Clair. Very decisive win here on Eichenwald.
Yeah, that one looked really solid there for St. Clair. I think it all just started right away with Bailable on the Pharaoh. I mean, it put momentum, like you see. I mean, like, obviously, if it was not Bailable, I would be pleasantly surprised. But Bailable, yeah, you can see him come here on the Pharaoh, just finding one, finding more and more and more. There's the first two right there. Can take down Cheddar and KVN. There's another two taking down Pleb. There's Junkrat going down. Does he find the last? No, G-Scales will get the last one to clean it up. But just so much there on Bailable. So great work from him to come through there in that one, and very excited to see how game 3 is going to go. But yeah, way more dominant than I anticipated in the game 2 for the Saints. I mean, they just came through from start to finish looking strong.
And that last play, when we saw the play of the game there, okay, you either deal with a missile or a dragon, which, like, pick your poison. There's no escape from that situation. But honestly, I know we were, like, yelling out Bailable's name quite a lot there, because he's the one, like, lighting up on the main kill feed, but everybody just came together and absolutely, like, crushed it, to say the least there. Everybody had the time to shine. And even, like, it sounds so simple, like, okay, just pick up the Mercy and just heal me. Pick up the Mercy and just attack boost me. But you also have to consider, like, okay, you're flying around with somebody additional. You have to, like, bob and weave between buildings too. Otherwise, they'll just pepper you out of the sky and then the whole play's dead. And then same thing there with Arjun keeping everybody on the ground, like, nice and safe alongside Apostle and, like, G-Scales, and everything was just perfect.
One thing I really picked up on was G-Scales, and that one was so good at getting behind the enemy lines, getting sneaky and just finding in some sort of an angle where, you know, he can do so much damage before Ryerson even realizes he's there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think I saw it right on the control point right away. As soon as he got behind with that Soldier 76, everybody was so focused on, you know, everybody damaging the Junkrat from the side of Ryerson, everybody trying to take down their tank, that they're like, okay, this whole fight's going on the control point, where G-Scales is finding out 3 or 4 other players' enemies' locations from the backline. So he really did just mess around with that whole play, and he did it over and over, twice or 3 times, just in the attacking side alone. So, it is looking very, very strong here for the Saints. They are going to be leading 2-0 here now, and this is where it gets scary for Ryerson, because you have to pull off a reverse sweep.
Yeah, absolutely brutal spot to put yourself into, and I could almost picture the comms for Ryerson in my head right now. After the defense went, like, so heavy towards, like, just Bailable finding so much additional damage, they're probably screaming at each other, DPS, deal with the Pharah!
Yeah,
and they're focused, like, they're fixated on it. And to be fair, they were finding ways to lock them down. Bailable tried to fire off a barrage, and then it was constantly dealt with. But then, okay, you're so fixated. What about G-Scales? And why is there a soldier behind us? And why am I dead? Like, if you get fixated on fixing one thing, like, Saints were able to absolutely adapt through that, and it was just, like, perfectly well done.
Yeah, so it looks like we are going to be moving on to Havana here now in this next one. So that one's going to be a very nice one to hop onto. We've seen it lots and lots of times with our Saints. So I think they are going to be very expected, very consistent on it, and very ready to go, experienced, and etc. But yeah, I personally, in that last game, I was a little surprised someone from the side of Ryerson didn't hop on the Pharah. Like, I mean, yes and no, because, I mean, I feel like if you see it work so good already one time, like, you might want to try it around, try it out for yourself, but it's not actually going to be the case, not going to come through. St. Clair, though, will be leading 2-0 in the series over Ryerson. We are heading on to the Havana here right now. Dan, what do you think about this map pick? What do you think about seeing Havana here in game number 3, the deciding game?
I want to see them actually escape from the spawn point, because we've seen the Saints in, or even in pro play in general, if you feel like you have, like, the defender's advantage, you can just absolutely park yourself on this garage door and just never let them leave. And I think if the side of Ryerson's been doing their homework, they'll know that Saints have been prone to doing this. And to be fair, like seeing the Genji pick coming out here from Zima, if that does end up sticking, that gives you at least somebody who could just dash out the door and try to at least cause a nuisance to let everybody else get in. And we'll have to see if that does end up working. Bailable and Ubel back on the pharmacy combo. One thing to note though is G-Scales is going to be on the Mei. This basically secures the possibility of a like spawn trap with this ice wall. They're just trying to wait and see where they're all going to be coming out from, and then you'll probably see G-Skills try to keep them stuck.
Yeah, you see G-Scale slowing things down there immediately. Ice Wall already going to come through there, and now it's the Saints just trying to do exactly what you said. Stuff them in from their spawn. We've seen it over and over from the Saints here, and I mean, if Ryerson, like you said, did their homework, they would definitely know that to anticipate this, and that's the Ice Wall. That's the killer right there, where it just slows down everything. Now look at Cheesy finds two. Saints, Ubel's here on the other side healing up Bailable, and Bailable's just ready to hold down the other angle. It just completely forces Ryerson in a sticky situation immediately into this game. They will sneak out the backside here, so it definitely does give them some sort of an opening, but either way, they're going to have to go through these Saints players one way or another, and that is what makes this position so deadly, and that's what makes the Mei so strong here. Look at this Ice Wall. The Ice Walls have been perfect from G-Scale so far. As soon as one Ice Wall goes down, you see the whole side of Ryerson back up and try to make a change of plans, but I mean, you'll see G-Scale just go to the other exit and ice that too.
I mean, I do kind of like what I am seeing out of Ryerson. They're picking things that are strictly meant for close quarters combat, with the exception of the Cassidy in this situation. So it's forcing, like, okay, if you're going to block us up close, we're going to just out-DPS you. But unfortunately for them, not quite able to get all on the same page. It looks like it. Oh, there's the Buddy Shatter coming through from Apostle. You had a little bit of glimpse of hope. You maybe walked a meter or two outside your base. How about nah? Right back to the garage with you.
And that is exactly what you needed there if you are from the Saints to, Ryerson really hadn't fallen before that drastically. They haven't really had a whole team fall where they all actually do end up dying there. But no, it's exactly what we did just see there. St. Clair going to completely reset the plate here for Ryerson. Now, Ryerson, you come into this with 4 minutes, correct? I mean, I think you come into this with 4 minutes. They're already down to 210. Like, that's half your time, and you haven't really made it past the spawn a whole lot yet. The payload really hasn't been moved. And, I mean, this is just a perfect start from St. Clair, and you can't really, every time we see them get the spawn trap on this map, we always say the same thing. It's a great start, and you can't really ask for a better start than this.
It really tests the discipline and the, like, patience of opponents when you get stuck into this positions, because it's so easy to just start yelling at each other and like start panicking, when in all reality, just slow down, group is one, death ball it, and try to get yourself out of there. I mean, easier said than done, especially now with the ice walls and the blizzards and so much CC ultimates like on board. But it's still absolutely plausible. KVN tried to get something going there, but with the blizzard, this is basically going to turn this fight upside down. And Apostle, large chunk are just going to absolutely light the field on fire here and take care of yet another team wipe.
I liked it that time there. G-Skills didn't fully make the decision to actually wall off where the players were coming from. He walled off their flank, so all the players from St. Clair could focus on the fights, and it's just a nice little change of pace there for the Saints to actually do get this one to swing into their favor. Once again, shutting down these Ryerson players. They've fallen now to under a minute on the clock to work with, and with this time just quick ticking and ticking by the second. More and more ice walls going down, more and more kills coming through. Bailable will eventually fall, but besides that, I mean, you can't really find a whole lot else if you're Ryerson. It's just a perfect play, perfect execution from the Saints. Dan, I mean, I can definitely see where you're coming from when you say you got to slow it down, because if you're the Saints, that's what makes this play work so well. It puts Ryerson in a scramble situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, there was a little bit of hope there from Ryerson. They all focused down Bailable, but at the same time, he was the only one who went down. The ultimate, the barrage, still made contact and got some eliminations beforehand. They are going to be firing off everything that they can, but that is going to be absolutely answered. The flux coming out here from Cheesy, going to cut everybody's health in half, basically, and they're still kind of dueling it out. A little bit of a back and forth this time. Apostle goes down, but Ubel right there with the revive, going to bring him right back into the fight. Junkrat one-on-one with Apostle, not quite going to find it. Shatter going to shut things down. Echo tries to get the touch on the cart, but it's no luck this time. No dice, no distance.
Yeah, you know what? All those players, they might be wearing masks, but you can definitely tell underneath those masks, it smiles all around here after that one. I know, like, there's no better feeling than that if you're the Saints, right? The 0.17 meters is what you need to win this game here right now, to clean up the whole series. And that is not a tall task here for the Saints. However, the only way Ryerson can win this game is if they do exactly what St. Clair just did to them.
Rough.
So now if you're St. Clair, you have in the back of your mind, you know what's coming. You know that they have to stop you immediately. You know you're going to see a ton of aggression right away. How do you prepare for that, and how do you overcome it?
The panic option is Bastion. Is it a good option? No. We'll have to see what ends up happening here and see if how they do opt for this. And I like what the Saints are already doing. Go full dive. Just touch the cart.
Yeah,
and
100%.
you basically win. And we're going to have to see. Okay, Pleb's picking up the May, looks like. So, yeah, you need the ice wall. Without question, you need it. Zima has a flashbang, too, to try and get some stuns off. And it's all up to this tank line. Are they going to try and bunker? If they try to bunker, you just go out the other door and just call it a day. And sure enough, yeah, they're going to try and get a little bit mobile here with the Reinhardt. So, in theory, they're bringing the right tools, but they're definitely taking their time here. Are they even going to be all in position? Cheddar's not at the fight.
Yeah, Cheddar's not at the fight. Like, what is happening? Cheddar going to actually have to use the boost to actually come in and come to this fight. And so the Maywall is here to slow things down and allow Cheddar to come onto the play. But, I mean, the initial fight is so big for Ryerson right now, you'd think that they'd be a little bit more aware of the situation at hand. And that's it. That's all it takes. And that is exactly why you need to be at that fight if you are from the side of Ryerson right there, because that's exactly what will happen otherwise. It's GG's in the game here now. St. Clair will come through with a 3-0 win here over Ryerson Rams. And a play of the game from Apostle will cap us off here now, doing absolutely phenomenal work all around. You can see it here from start to finish. This is the shatter. This is the cleanup. Look at them all fall. That's a 10-player kill streak for Apostle.
We didn't even need the shatter.
Oh, that wasn't even the shatter.
That was just a flame strike.
That was just a flame strike. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's going to be unreal play there from the side of the Saints.
There is the one stat there, actually, though. 6 Earth Shatter kills.
Wow.
So, like, he did absolutely have, like, massive value, because there was a few times where he knocked down like maybe 3 or 4 people. But yeah, that just was very unfortunate there for Ryerson not being able to actually escape the spawn trap at all. And like, they were calling themselves out for a C9, but what they're not kind of giving themselves credit for is, like, you have to make sure that you're on that point, right? So how do you do that? What if I could just knock you right off the point? Apostle picked up the wrecking ball and just dove. Went in with the rest of the squad, pushed the Reinhardt away, who was unfortunately late to the fight. You could tell that there was a lot of indecisiveness. They are wise enough to know, okay, we don't just try to bash and bunker this because it's probably not going to work. They tried, and to be fair, they brought the right tools, but it took a little bit too long. You could tell they were panicking, but at least for them, early season game, still plenty of time to adjust.
That's the one thing I keep in mind, right? Me and you, from a casting perspective, the whole time are saying you got to stay calm if you want to overcome this. You got to play it play by play. When in the situation, though, it's really hard to stay calm in that situation. You know, time is of the clock. You have 4 minutes, and time is just ticking down. The first 2 minutes are already gone, and they're still got you pressured down. And it makes it really hard to just try to calm down when you know that there's so much on the line here right now, and the Saints have just punished you way back and way back. Like, it's almost like I feel a little bit bad here for the side of Ryerson for having to be stuck in that position, but you see it so much here in Overwatch, and you see St. Clair really do the solid job of, you know, closing it out. And I mean, hey, playing by the rules, do what you do, and you do find the win regardless.
I mean, this is definitely one that you go back to the drawing board with later on and try to learn up a little bit, because like, there's still plenty of like decision-making things that could have been changed. Like, it's really easy to say, oh, I just got to practice my shot more. I got to practice my my combos more or something like that. But no, like, the actual shot calling, especially if the shot caller for Ryerson is either new or there is no designated shot caller, that basically turns into a solo queue pub.
Yeah.
And that's a hard spot to put yourself into. Granted, like I was saying before, extremely early into the season, one of those players can either get more experience at shot calling or like a point one. And even if the call is wrong, I'd rather everybody charge in on the wrong call instead of like, okay, maybe I'll peek out and try to get the far. Oh no, I'm dead. Okay, I guess we're 5-on-6 for a bit.
It's very similar to, you know, League of Legends, where you said that very well, the same thing, right? You know, you'd rather make the wrong call and everybody commits on it than to make no call at all and have everybody sparingly go in. So it is good to see, you know, Ryerson still playing as a team. You still see them, you know, using that teamwork and communication there. The first one definitely a lot closer before we got into the second and third, but the Saints really did lock in and dial up then. But it's a 3-0 win to start off here for the Saints, and NACE Starleague Week week 1 here over the Ryerson Rams. So stay posted as we do have lots of more weeks and more matches coming up here
yes.
over the season. We have night matches every single night this week. I believe tomorrow we do have R6.
Yes, Collegiate R6, the playoffs from last season, from last year. It's getting finished up basically during this month and going into February. So our R6 squad, a little bit of a newer roster, a little bit of a modified roster, but they're going to be going up against, I believe it's West Virginia. I could be completely wrong on that. We'll figure it out 100% and post it on Twitter once we do know. But it's going to be a late one, 9:30 start for some Collegiate R6 action. But I know personally,
R6.
I am excited to see some R6. It's been a good while.
You know what? I don't mind the R6 night games sometimes, right? I mean, that's one thing that I always find classic R6 about is, oh, we're going to play at 11 p.m. here on our games. And, it is what it is. But yeah, at least you get some content at all hours of the night here. If you're a big Saints fan, you can have content in the afternoon. You can have content at night. You can have content while you're eating dinner, whatever it may be.
Hey, I know y'all. None of yous are asleep yet. So
yeah, exactly.
I should have been in bed an hour before it started, but you guys are still probably up and going at it and still queuing up. So it's perfect.
Exactly. But overall, a win for the Saints broadcast today, starting off with a Rocket League 3-0 win over McGill University, now transferring over to a 3-0 win for the Saints Overwatch team against the Ryerson Rams. So a good day here for the Saints, starting off with a lot of week 1s here in NACE and NECC and whatnot. So stay posted with us as we have a lot going on with the rest of this week. You guys can follow us at Saints Gaming CA on all of our socials to stay tuned. With that being said, let's give a quick love to our sponsors and everything like that. So starting us off here, Crunchyroll, they're going to be joining us here this season, joining us last season, but still continuing with us this season. You guys can get a 14-day premium trial for free at crunchyroll.com/Saints. Crunchyroll is essentially the Netflix of anime. Any anime show you could imagine you want to watch will be on Crunchyroll there, most likely. So yeah, if you want to get a 14-day premium trial for free, crunchyroll.com/Saints.
And of course, the big thing to everybody else who are all, not everybody else, but all of our other sponsors as well, of course, Tim Hortons, Subway, the St. Clair SRC, and the St. Clair Alumni Association, as well as the Zuckelman School of Business and Information Technology for making the St. Clair Saints esports team all possible. Absolute thank you. And of course, I may not be the walking billboard today, but if you haven't done so already, be sure to check out some of our merch, of course. Lots of high quality stuff. The dark mode merch, as we've been referring to it as a little bit. The variety has just gone absolutely sky high compared to past seasons. So be sure to take a look and take a peek and maybe make yourself a little bit of a wish list over at acquire.ca/Saints and take a look for yourself.
Yeah, if you got a good Saints fan at home or something like that, it's always a great gift. So, that being said, everyone, that is going to wrap us up here for the night. All of our St. Clair Saints esports action. We will be back here tomorrow with the Collegiate R6, as you were saying. But with that being said, my name is Jackson the Pride Brown, joined alongside Dan, Mr. Danner's Banner, and this was St. Clair Saints esports. We'll catch you guys all on the next one. Have a good night, everybody.